Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rafaela. I'm an educational sociologist based in Tokyo. And about a month ago, I started this series which I will be sharing about my work-life study research balance. And in the last episode, I talked about the foundation that lays under all these concepts that I will be sharing with you. And in today's video, I wanted to share with you how I try to navigate work in academia without burning out. There's something that I take really seriously when it comes to my work, life, research, and study balance. That's energy and time. And I'm not really talking here about like productivity, these like toxic kind of productivity. I'm talking about soft, disciplined academic lifestyle. I'm sorry if you're here looking for some productivity hacks, this and that. I'm not here to provide you that. I'm here to alleviate a little bit of your stress when it comes to academic job, which can be very unique compared to industry job. All right, so first off, let's talk about how I use my time. As I mentioned in my last video, I try to avoid working over 9 hours a day because that's something that I know my body won't be able to keep up with if I work more than that. And in the meantime, I know that if I work less than that, I will be feeling guilty because I feel like I didn't do enough, even though I did. And I'm not gonna lie, there are times that I have to end up exceeding a little bit of the time. And to avoid that to happen all the time, one thing that I keep in mind is to use my phone wisely. Like for example, when I'm commuting, I like to do when it comes to more admin kind of stuff, or even or doing something more like errands kind of tasks. For example, I travel a lot, so I like to, for example, book a hotel or book a train or look for my flight, all those things on my phone. So when I'm commuting or when I'm just chilling in the sofa, for example, I can just grab my phone and start doing these tasks. I often reply to emails that I feel like it's not something that requires my full attention. It's more like responding, okay, thank you very much for your email, those kind of like light emails. I also like to do some light reading in the train or in the bus. And I also like to research some papers as well. I have everything on iCloud, so that it's very easy to access on my phone. I don't have to be literally going into my PC folder to read the paper. All right, another thing I do try to make the most of the time that I'm working is to improve my focus. Lately, I've been getting a lot of message from people how to avoid doom scrolling and how to avoid like picking up your phone all the time. I feel you. Even though I'm a university professor, sometimes, especially when I'm working from home, for example, it's very tempting. You receive like a Slack message from work, and then you're receiving an emails and you have to catch up, and you end up picking up the phone, and sometimes you have to stop whatever you were doing to pay attention to that notification that you received. So to avoid that, I've been using this application called Opal, which is an application that blocks certain applications in your phone, and it has been like life-changing. I started using that during my PhD, and it has helped me so much because you can physically see how much time you're spending on your phone, and when it blocks, it makes you feel like, okay, now is the time for you to get back to what actually matters. So I really recommend you using this phone. Another thing that I also like to use when it comes to improving my focus is the sound. I have a serious problem with noise. Like it can be tiny noise, but somehow it takes away my focus. So I like to use the background noise feature on iPhone, or even on Spotify. I like to go on these brown noise podcasts that they keep playing for 3 hours, 4 hours, for example. And when I feel like I need to really concentrate, I just play that using my earphones. That way I can literally forget about this little noise and just focus on the job. Another thing that I have been putting more effort lately is to organize more of my files in my folders. I have so many different projects going on, people that I am in contact with, files that I've been shared with. So every time I try looking for these documents, it takes a long time. So I've been trying to keep these files organized, the names, the folders, iCloud, like I mentioned. And I also have been creating templates when it comes to, for example, documents that I need to submit to university every time I go on a business trip, or every time that I need to create a presentation, for example. I try to use the same exact design because that also can take time. Figuring out the best font size and the design, all that, it takes time. And on that line, I also like to keep track the workflow of different tasks. Like for example, one thing that I have taken notes lately was about the workflow when it comes to importing articles into EndNote. In my Notion page where I keep track of all the papers that I read, there's a different kind of process I need to go through. So I cannot really remember all the process, and sometimes just researching every single step, it can take a long time. That's why I write step by step as if I was teaching my future self how to go through each step so that I don't get lost and I don't spend much time like researching how to solve that issue, and also I don't stress out about like me spending time on things that I was supposed to know. Now, when it comes to saving my energy, I really like to improve my environment, my office and my house as well. I also like to work from cafes when I feel like I need a little bit more of motivation. I really have everything handy, like my charger and my iPad with me as well, because sometimes I use it as my dual screen. And I also keep the books that I use the most close to my table so that every time I need to check something, I just can grab it easily. Another thing that I also like to do to preserve my energy is to do the heavy tasks in the beginning of the week and leave more lighter tasks at the end of the week, because most of the times we're more energized in the beginning of the week, and at the end of the week we don't really have that much energy anymore. Whenever I'm planning my week using Notion, one update that I have made into my Notion template, which some of you already have access to, is creating this board view to help me keep track of the tasks that I need to do that week, this month, that quarter, and that year. I will leave a screenshot right here of how it looks like. I have a column for this week's task and this month's task and the quarter task, and I just simply drag and drop. I like to spend the last hour of Fridays to just plan my next week ahead, and I like to just see what's in my this month box to move it to this week. What is that I really need to do this week? That way I feel like when I'm done with all the tasks of that week, and I can also get some work done ahead if I feel like I have completed everything that I needed to do that week. Sometimes I see a lot of scholars and academics overworking because they don't know what's enough. So having this system is really a relief, and you take off this big guilt that you have inside you that you're not doing enough. Well, that was it for the work part of how I maintain this self-disciplined academic life. Last month, since the new semester started here in Japan, life has been quite crazy, like new adjustments and a lot more work to do. And I have also shared in my social media that I have received the funding to publish my PhD book this year. And it's been a lot of work to juggle with my research, with my current research that is going on, with the paper that I'm reviewing, and I also have this PhD book that I need to review. So it's been quite a lot. In my next video, I'll be sharing with you how I manage all this research part of my life, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!